I found these in a box of books being given away outside of a masjid, and from the looks of it, perhaps there was water damage, and they removed the cover for that reason. But the interpretation of the meanings of the Noble Quran in the English language, 9 parts. So these are the only 2 of these parts that I had, and I understand why this larger version of the Saudi commentary of the Quran is what, I understand why this is sort of the spiritual library for some people, because not only is it a massive volume, but it's a lot more varied than a lot of the commentaries. And here I go up again. It's not as varied as it looks like this commentary would be, or some other ones would be, nor this one, but it's pretty good and not repetitive too much. I mean, there are some things repeated that don't need to be repeated because it's already been addressed, but it goes nowhere near the derivative and repetitive nature of that one there. There are a few issues in the translation of some terms, and by this I mean, like, for example, there's a narration about perfecting one's Islam, and perfecting the goodness of one's Islam would be a better translation, because the idea is that Islam is not something that can be perfected, because it is perfected in containing all good and truth, and condemning all evil and ignorance automatically, no matter what the new situation is. And so, I'm not saying that it should be translated that way because of that belief. I'm saying because of the words ihsan, or some variation of that. And of course we have sizable indexed, what jihad really is, why the Bible would point to Islam. There's a lot more reasons, certain technical terms. Some translations go way too far with trying to, Arabic is a living language. We know what all the words in the tens of thousands of narrations mean. We know what every word in the Quran means exactly. We don't need to do this, but it's a very good translation and commentary overall. It goes back over much of the translation again and throws extra narrations that would be important to learn too. It basically operates as sort of a guide for life. This translation does. So, the translation is translation, but I mean the commentary helps aid in that sort of thing. It even helps with stuff like the funerary prayer and stuff like this. I don't remember if the index, I haven't read the index on, I'm only yay far in this second volume here, but I thought I'd comment about these 2 at once. So the 5 pillars should be well detailed out in any Quran that has more than a translation and an index. But something like this, a smaller Quran translation, a bilingual edition, maybe a manual for the prayers or something else, and that should be enough. And there's nothing wrong with reading other books. Certainly I've read a lot of other books, and the local masjid should have wider, bigger versions of these commentaries. Ibn Kathir, there are several issues very clearly that any Muslim should take with this one, but I mean, out of a big text like that, only several places where he should have known better, but he wanted to overstate and make a comment. Like in Surah 7 and some other places, he said some things that he really had no authority to say, but 99 point something percent of the time, his commentary is very sound. But a lot of the masjids will have bigger variations of this, so going to a masjid and making your way through Muslim and Bukhari and Ibn Kathir and some of the other commentaries can be very useful, but keep things simple enough that you can actually do something with them.